Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to this interview for the recently released book, Poems from the Heart. And today I have the absolute pleasure and honor of interviewing Christopher Seifert. Welcome, Christopher.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure. Excited to talk to you and share what we got to share.
I'm very excited about our conversation today. And before we start, do you mind introducing yourself to our viewers who may not know who you are?
Absolutely. I'm Christopher Seifert from Lion in the Stars, poet, channeler, healer, Reiki master, all the things related to stepping deeper into the heart and the heart expression. I think that's the best way that I could sum it up.
Beautiful. And you have, before we fully get into the questions about the book, you have an amazing Instagram page that you share all kinds of inspirational channels that come through. Do you mind sharing a bit about what that journey has been like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. The journey for me, the true journey, right? That huge dark night of the soul that kind of rocks us all onto our path and our divine mission started for me back in around 2010 to 2012. For me, writing became a very powerful outlet for me. So started into poetry. That's where I built my initial page from. I have two published books on Amazon, uh, both poetry books, and then that just gradually transitioned as I started to take my work more seriously, and my gifts started to come through even stronger into the page that it is today, which is channel messages, lives, work with twin flames, just across the board. Like I mentioned with Reiki and all the different aspects of, the tools and gifts that I have that have helped me to walk through it and walking the journey of authenticity and being able to share that medicine with others that are walking that similar path or getting ready to walk that similar path.
Beautiful. A true master of multidimensional awareness and channeling. And to bring it into the poetry focus, what was your inspiration into poetry and how did poetry kind of come about in your life for you?
I mean, poetry has always been an aspect of who I am, from the way that I spoke, even as a child, um, just the different ways of heart expression. And the more serious that I got about diving into the heart, the more the words started to flow, the more the poem started to flow as well. Um, and which just led me to share, I always say this, the things that I write, they're my channels and my conversations with God or the universe, spirit, source, etc. And I just change them and put them into, the third person. It just happens to be that those are also the messages that people need. So whether it's through, a channeled message, to me, poems are all channeled messages. They're all messages from the heart, which is a message from the universe. So the journey has been amazing, many ups and downs along the way, but always taking me closer and anchoring more into my heart and into divine love. And that's what I think that's what the beauty of poetry is. It's the purest expression of the heart in written and spoken form.
I fully agree with you. And thank you for allowing the world to see the channels that come through you, yet that so many of us need. And also, it brings it back to that oneness of how, in the end, we're all one and we all essentially may need that message in the moment or may need it in the future whenever it arrives to us. So,
Absolutely.
absolutely beautiful. I love it. And what inspired you to join in on the collaborative book of Poems from the Heart?
The name itself is really what got me. Um, I've done some different collaboration work over the years. I was asked to be a part of like a chakra explanation and breakdown, and obviously they gave me the heart chakra, right? So when I saw, when I was reached out, when I saw the name, it just resonated so deeply, and that's why I'm really excited about the poems that I get to share in this, because they were their own divine channel, and everything happens in divine timing. 2 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't know that. I mean, the poems would have been what they need to be at that time, but what they are now in this moment, in this encapsulated time that we're putting into this collaboration, the version of me that wrote these poems, that's expressing these channels, that's, you know, communicating, has never, I've never been this version of me in this lifetime yet. And so it's such a, for me, a profound and deep expression of my own heart that I'm grateful and honored, and, you know, to be able to share that with the world.
Mm. Thank you for sharing this new version of yourself with the world, and also for sharing your heart so openly. It's so refreshing to see, especially within the masculine. So thank you for holding the healed divine masculine, as your shirt says.
Yeah.
And what themes and subjects do you find yourself, either for the poems that you wrote for the book and or just in general, what themes and subjects do you find yourself drawn to when writing?
The heart, for sure. That's always going to be, that's the umbrella that everything else falls under. And, you know, being line in the stars, speaking of divine masculine, there's a lot of emphasis on that, on the container, that men are here to hold, or divine masculine energy is here to hold, both, you know, as an energy, but as a man on this journey in the collective, and being a leader and a way shower, a light bearer, etc. In the stars aspect of line in the stars, the cosmos always comes into play with this. And to tie this into the previous question, looking at the other books that have been published, the way that they relate to the cosmos, the universe, the multiverse, if you will, Lemurian timelines, Atlantean timelines, these are all things that I draw inspiration from because of past lives, because of remembrance of those past lives, and being able to just tap into that energy and into what that ancient blueprint was, and that ancient blueprint that we're bringing into the current, you know, what we like to call the new earth. But that's how I look at it. It's that ancient blueprint that we're bringing back, where love is how we lead. Our hearts are open, we're vulnerable, expressive, but still being the spiritual warriors that we are, understanding you walk this journey with an open heart, but the warrior still carries a sword, but you lead with your heart and not with the sword. So that's the gist of it, right? I mean, I could go on about the different inspiration, but those are like the foundational pieces of it, and all around the heart.
That's amazing. It's interesting that you talk about the sword and the heart. I know somebody who used to sword fight a lot, and that was his approach as well. Very much around making sure that it's fun and play to play with the sword, if you will, but in the end, everything has to come from the heart and not from fear base. So
Exactly.
absolutely beautiful. Thank you for holding that, and thank you for being a warrior of love.
It's my honor, absolutely.
Thank you. And how would you feel that poetry has helped you navigate through the complexity of emotions that come from the human experience?
That is an amazing question. Again, tying this into the dark night of the soul aspect, I mean, that's what shifted everything for me. You know, going through life, you know, I'm going to speak to this from, you know, a man's perspective, not having that support system, not having, you know, I had great parents that very much encouraged me to tap into my heart, but we're still walking through wounds, right? I had a father that very much cared for me, but didn't show his affection, you know, in ways that were conducive to my full growth. Now, understanding that everything happens the way it's supposed to, it served its divine purpose. But also understanding, like, when I look at men that I work with through my coaching, my mentoring, my quantum healing, etc., we're always focusing on that aspect of the heart, the vulnerability. So for me, with poetry, it gave me an opportunity to really take all of that I've been repressing, suppressing, pushing down, avoiding, numbing. It gave me an outlet to be able to truly and fully and authentically express what's in my heart. And I never planned on writing it anywhere. I just created a blog on, I think it was Tumblr back then. And I had my Tumblr, and I would just write, and then people started to follow it, and it just continued to grow from there. But poetry, it's, to me, again, written word, it's such a pure expression. And when you can take a poet, you know, that does spoken word poetry, you can feel the emotions, you can feel what they were walking through. You can still get that through written word, but to hear the spoken voice, a lot of, you know, poets that do spoken word, that speak their poetry from the heart. You know, it's bringing out an activation, a coding, and an initiation. Their voices, their words are all activating. And so for me, it's given me it opened up a whole new avenue to express what's in my heart and to fulfill aspects of my mission, which as a healer, to me, I always say a healer is an activator, right? We're activating people's hearts, we're activating their chakra system. You know, we're activating dormant DNA, if you will, right? If we want to talk about star seeds, we can go a whole segue with that. But poetry has just been an amazing way for me personally to express the things that I wasn't expressing before and that I didn't have the courage to express as well. And it's helped me to build that confidence to really tap into my gifts, into my heart, into who the authentic version of me is, my highest self, etc. So it's been a vital piece in my journey, and I wouldn't be here doing the work that I do without poetry. That's why I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about being a tarot reader, and that's how they got into the work. But they feel like they're branching out. And I said, but the thing is, that is your foundation. You always, you'll always pull from tarot, whether you're pulling cards or they're popping in your mind through your channel. That's always going to be a part of who you are. And poetry for me is that. It's what catapulted me into truly expressing, being able to get on videos and Zooms and lives and TikTok lives and all the different, avenues of social media. It's opened so many doors for me to express and experience who I truly am.
Mm, beautiful. Do you mind elaborating a little bit more on, because we've talked about what it is to be a creative masculine. Do you mind elaborating a little bit more on any masculines who watch this interview who might still be discovering their gifts or have a gift, but might be a little bit nervous on sharing it, and a little bit from an insight from a masculine perspective on the courage that it took you to bring it forward?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to take the step forward, right? And the beautiful thing about healthy masculine energy is it's action, right? It's energy in motion, right? It's emotion. So taking that step forward, no matter what, I've had friends from, the highest heights in Beverly Hills to the lowest parts of the city, right? I've walked through many different avenues of life. And one thing I can tell you is the judgment is going to be there regardless. But the healed version of who you are and the healing version of who you are, as you start to progress, as you start to ascend, it doesn't matter. Because all that God is asking you to do is be who you are. And for some of the men that will watch this, that will hear this, you can't run away from your purpose. And if your purpose is designed to be in front of people or speak from your heart, it doesn't matter, man, woman, but especially for the men on this journey, it doesn't matter. God will continue to whisper. And sometimes that whisper has to get a little bit louder. And sometimes that whisper becomes a tower moment, but it will always redirect you back to where you're meant to be. So even if you're in resistance to stepping in as a man on this healing journey, even if you're in resistance to it, you can never deny, and you will never be denied, your destiny. So the sooner, people always ask me, what's the cheat code, on this journey? And it's to open your heart, right? It's to step into love. It's to allow divine love to flow through you. So the more that you can that men on this journey can tap into their hearts, that can really step into their true divine masculine essence and hold that container for their own divine feminine energy, which is the flow state, the abundance, the multiplication, the oracle aspect, and all the magic that comes from divine feminine energy. When they can hold that healthy container for their own feminine energy, they will excel beyond this world because they come into inner union, into inner balance with that masculine and feminine energy. But it all starts with taking the step, being consistent, right? That's a big thing with divine masculine energy. That's a big thing that I was lacking in my life. And that was a huge turning point for me on this journey, is understanding to be consistent, to keep stepping forward, to take action. Your feminine energy will give you all the insight, all the downloads, all the intuitive hits. But if you're not taking action on it, where are you going? You're just running in circles. You're in that constant loop. You're tired, you don't know why. I mean, there's so many different ways that it shows up. But to circle back to the initial question, it's always going to be to step deeper into your heart. And when you step deeper into your heart, there will automatically be a push to share that with others. And what men get to understand is that the strength doesn't come from the alpha aspect and all that. Yes, be a warrior. Yes, be a protector, but also create a safe space for the divine feminine in this world, starting with the divine feminine within, the women around you, your girlfriends, mothers, wives, children, aunties, whatever. All of that energy is important to be a protector of, but you have to protect that within you first. So that expression will gradually get you to that point. The consistency will continue to build that. It builds trust within your own divine masculine energy. But if you're not willing to take the step, you're going to be in the same place a year, 5, 10 years from now. So for those that, I mean, I've done this on my podcast. I've talked about this. Like, there's so many men out here with these beautiful gifts as healers, as womb healers, as Reiki masters. They're moving energy without understanding. They're channeling without understanding. Like, I look at artists, music artists, right? They're channeling these powerful melodies and hymns and chords. Their voices are activating, but they're afraid to step into who they are because this person might judge, or my father doesn't approve, or my family's never done this. And to those people that resonate with that aspect of what I said, like, you're meant to be the black sheep of the family, because the black sheep is the one that breaks the curses. They break the trauma, they heal the trauma, they heal their lineage. They no longer carry that 7 generations up. They now give that love and that open-heartedness to the 7 generations behind. But it all starts with taking that first step. And it's always going to be scary the first time, but I call it spiritual muscle memory, right? When you go to the gym, you lift, you go hard for 3-4 weeks, 3-4 months, you take a week off, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be so sore. And then you get back in the gym, and then your body's like, oh, okay, let's go. The spiritual world works the same way. Your healing journey works the same way. But you build that muscle memory. You overcome things. You walk through things, and you realize that what I thought was going to defeat me actually made me stronger. And I feel like a whole Kanye West download with that, but that's the truth of it. Like, you have to take the step, and each time you take the step, it gets easier and easier to walk the path. But most people are afraid to take that first step, and so they end up staying in the same place until God redirects them. But it's going to happen one way or the other.
Thank you for that channeling. Something just said, ask this question. That was an amazing answer. Thank you so much. And thank you so much also for talking about exactly that no matter what vessel we have been given, be it masculine or feminine, we are a combination of both of those energies. So be it just the masculines who are watching, but also the feminines who are watching, the masculine within. For myself, I know that I definitely needed to hear the action part, because I'm very good at the feminine aspect. And sometimes there's just that little action that it's that fear base where it's like, no, we got to go, we got to move. So thank you for that channeling. That was beautiful. And just continuing a little bit along that energy, how do you feel that poems from the heart will contribute to our world and to what we have going on collectively right now?
I think it's the perfect time for it. Looking at everything that's going on in the world, looking at the big shifts, if we're looking at astrology, Pluto in Aquarius, for the next 20 something years, minus the retrograde later this year, or shortly coming, if I remember correctly. But I think it's divinely timed, it's divinely orchestrated, right? And I haven't seen you've probably seen the other poems that are coming into this collaboration. I can only speak for the ones that I did, and looking at what we were just talking about from the divine masculine perspective, I mean, I think it's important. Like, people are going to read poems that are very intimate, because I was in a very intimate space, but there's another word, it'll come to me. But where I was at when I wrote these, that it was very vulnerable, right? And so I think from the perspective of the the previous conversation, being able to read poems, and I'm going to say it like this because this is important. There aren't a lot of people that look like me that do this work. And that's an important aspect in itself, because it's usually very all the way over here or all the way over there, right? And not everybody can relate to that. But I'm here with a bald head and tattoos and, you know, my chipped teeth and all this, but yet I don't let that get in the way of expressing who I am. So I think an important aspect for me with this book is that it's giving the readers an opportunity to see what it can look like. It doesn't have to fit into a box. It gets to just be the heart, and the heart is ever expansive. You can never put it in a box. It will always outgrow. It will always expand further than any box you try to put it into. So from one aspect, I think that's an amazing part, is being able to see divine masculine energy, the container within the poem of divine masculine energy, but the flow state of the divine feminine within the container. The container is the poem, the container is the book. So now you take that and expand on it, and now we have how many total poets within this book?
I'm not 100% sure of the exact, but it's 20 something, I think.
Perfect. So that's 20 different aspects, 20 different perspectives, 20 different energies that people are all going to relate to one way or the other. There's different aspects of the heart, and that's the beauty of it. That's why, again, the title of it was just so like perfect for me in particular, because I had a friend of mine, she mentioned, like, remember how many colors are in the Crayola box, right? You know, and even when you look to take that a step further, you know, you may have orange, and then you have peach, and then you have red, yellow, and you have all these different aspects, and it's still the same. It's still a variation of the same thing. And that's the beauty of it. All the work that we've collaborated in this is going to give people an opportunity to see and to feel and experience and be activated by different writers, different poets, different healers, because they're all healers. We're all healers in this book. And I think that's what's one of the most powerful pieces about it, is that the activations that people are going to receive from this book is what's going to shift so many. Because you can literally, I could see, like, what I see with this book is somebody could pick it up one day, just open it, and that poem is going to be exactly what they need to hear for the day. Now, the next poem after that by that same person, it may not impact them the same way at that time, but then 2 weeks from now, they open it up, they read it again, and now, boom. Right? So you have so many different poets with all their different activations, with all their healing, with their journey of authenticity being shared through this book. And to me, the activation aspect of it, of the heart that people are going to receive, I think is profound. And I don't gas anything up. I really do feel that, like, it's already profound. Just you've read some of these, right? Mm-hmm. So you already know exactly what's going in, and then people get to experience that from where they're at. And the beauty of books and podcasts and you know, the Kindle versions and all this stuff is that you're encapsulating time, right? You're taking the powerful activations of that moment and you're making it timeless, because somebody can come back to this a year from now and go, wow, I wasn't ready for this then, but I'm so ready for this right now. This is exactly what I needed to hear. This is the message. So I think that's such a powerful aspect of this, just the activations of the heart that people are going to receive. Because I'm telling you right now, you're going to get activated by my poems. They're all infused with divine love. So, yeah.
I feel you. Same with mine. When I was putting them in at first, I was like, are these going to be too intense? Nope, they're going in.
It's going to be exactly what the reader is needing, and the medicine that they're ready for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And just kind of elaborating on what you were talking about, I look at it almost like a pizza. Like, everybody's contribution, it's a different piece of pizza. And one day you might pick one, and the next day you might pick a completely different one from the same pie. Yep. And then the other thing that came through too, which is something that I've just been visualizing the whole time with this book, is kind of like the Care Bear stare aspect, where it's the combination of like our subconscious and our conscious chakras meeting at the heart, and then everything from all seven being projected out through the heart. So I just see like all of us with our own little Care Bear stare, color and uniqueness and whatever our modality is that we have. So that's how I see it. And it's just spreading lots of love around the world in such a wonderful way. And as well, like you mentioned too, it's coming back to the different versions of love, and how somebody might have one poem that's very, very bubbly and uplifting, and then another one might be like, for myself, I have a very big range. I have one that's very uplifting, and then one that really makes you think about life and your shadow self, and also just being here in life. So it's what is it in that moment that you need. So thank you for expressing that it contributes to the complexity of emotions that we experience as humans. And then what was your experience of working with Radha's Publishing House?
I love it. It's been absolutely amazing. I didn't share a lot of what I was doing for this with anybody because I just didn't want any outside energies, right? I wanted just to come out with, hey, surprise, here's what's going on. And this call, this Zoom right here is, I mean, you can tell just from the energy that we're putting out in this, what the experience has been. The communication, just everything from top to bottom, what do we always say? Like 5-star Uber, like 10 out of 10. It's been an amazing experience, and it made it so much easier to just be able to flow and to step deeper into the heart, to be able to express, what the message that is meant to come out. So I'm a big fan. That's why, I tag you guys on my stories on Instagram, and you guys are on YouTube and Twitter as well. So just so you know, you're out there. But it's been an amazing experience. Let this call speak volumes to the experience that it's been.
I fully agree with you. It's an amazing, amazing company, and Radha herself has done a lot of amazing work to create such a high vibrational, safe, and also solid foundation for it. So, and could you describe working with Radha's Publishing House in one word?
Love.
I love it.
That simple. Love.
Beautiful. Nobody's used that word yet.
And I wouldn't have, for me, it couldn't be any other word, right? I could think of a million words, but that's what you feel. And this call, my conversation with her, like it was a very powerful, I don't know if she mentioned it at all, but it was a very powerful call. It was very much soul recognition, and for me, on this journey, I always speak to the fact that as you ascend on your timelines, when you step into your dharma, all those days of unreciprocated energy and business deals and relationship, etc., in all aspects of relationship, right? When you step into these dharma timelines, you start to align with people that are in that doing the work like you, right? That are willing to go into the shadow and really see how bright their light shines, right? To go into the void and not tippy toe into it, but full on cannonball, right? And so the experience as a whole has, and the reason that love is so prominent, and again, tying this back to Poems from the Heart, like that's what Poems from the Heart is. It's love. And it's all the different aspects of love. And again, to the previous conversation, it's so many different perspectives, so many different experiences, but the common theme to that whole book to me is love. So the book, the publishing house, everything about it, that is the word that I would use to describe it. Absolutely 100% love.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing from such a beautiful space of love and from the heart. And so for our viewers to be able to check out Christopher's poems, you will have to purchase the book. So please take a moment and check it out on Kindle on the Amazon version. And then it'll also be available on Amazon. I believe it's July 24th. It's coming out in a paperback version. So be sure to check out Christopher's poems within the book. And before we finish up today, where can our viewers find you? And are there any projects that you're working on that you would like to share with our viewers?
So you can find me Instagram at lion.in.the.stars, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, at Lion in the Stars, for my business, for the, Reiki classes, healing, quantum healing, coaching, etc., mentoring. Website is lioninthestars.com. And any future projects, I will let you guys know, because like I said, I hold those close to the chest, and then it's just like surprise. But I will say there are some things in the works, and hopefully some future endeavors with you guys and the amazing, loving environment that you create. So
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And there's a little bit of a Scorpio energy with that and holding it close to the heart and letting it out. I like that.
that is, well, I'm a Sun Scorpio, so
There we
there you
go.
go. Let me give you your confirmation of your channel. Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Yeah. Scorpio is, I have a lot of Scorpios around me, and it's an energy I know very, very well, of holding it close until it's either just the last few steps or it's fully ready and baked and ready to rock. So
Yep.
amazing. And then lastly, is there any little tidbits or wisdom that you would like to share with our viewers before we depart?
Again, just to reiterate, whether this is masculine or feminine, man or woman, the journey into the heart will always bring you to your highest self, to your most authentic self, and to your relationship with God, universe, source, spirit, etc. You can fight the work, you can resist it all you want, but eventually it's where you're always meant to be. Your heart is where home is, and your heart is with you wherever you go. So you want to walk the truest aspects of this journey, then allow yourself to feel the truest aspects of your heart. You will never fail. You will always succeed, because you will always be connected to divine love.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for being a part of this book. It has been an absolute pleasure to connect with you and to collaborate with you. And I'm really looking forward to see what upcoming things your Scorpio self has.
No, thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Glad we got to connect, in person. But yeah, I'm honored and grateful for the opportunity, and I'm excited for what this book brings for the collective.
Right there with you. And for our viewers, please take a moment to go check out Poems from the Heart, available on Amazon, currently on Kindle, and as of July 24th, it'll be available on paperback. Please go follow Christopher at all of the different spaces that he has shared. And thank you so much for your time and for being with us. We've got this.